Announcements. The introduction to storage auctions, the webinar kicks off January 17th, 9 p.m. 2012. Yes, very shortly. The link's below if you want to sign up. Also, I get a lot of people like, hey, do I get signed books? Where, I'm like, I talk about books and there's links everywhere. And people are like, hey, how can I get the book? The links for all the books are below. Understand? They are below. So any book you want, the link's below, plus some other information. You just have to go up there, push on that tab, and it expands, and bam, there it is. Also, if you want to check out the write-up for the video that's coming, it's already up on the blog. And let's see, something else. Oh yeah, subscribe, share, and comment. I like smart-ass comments. The more clever, the better, because some of you are funny. And I just want to say thanks to all the new folks that jumped on board, because there's a lot of new subscribers. And check out the storage auction playlist. There's a lot of older videos, and you think this is funny, just watch. I've always said that some of the best units are not necessarily about money. With all the TV shows going on and everyone is like, hey, I want to make my money. I got to get my paper. I got to get my paper. Sometimes you miss some very valuable stuff. That was the deal with Matty Stewart, which incidentally was a killer unit. It was a killer unit, one of the best units I ever got. And I got it pretty early in my career and did really well early in my career, which is probably why I got hooked. But this was one of those days where I kind of got up and I was in a bad mood. And it wasn't not about wanting to go to the auctions, because I really, really wanted to go to the auctions, because I had just broken up with my girl. And when you break up with somebody and it hurts, but it's a good decision, because even though you're hurt, you're like, that was the business. And you're feeling a little bit better about yourself. So that was my mood. I had a pocket full of cash. My hot sheet was loaded. It's like, I'm going to go out and get some units. So from the first location to the fifth, I bought units all day long. I had like 10. It was going. I still had a little cheddar in my pocket. And we get to the next to the last location. I'm kind of low. I think I only got $300 in my pocket. And a few unit rooms come up, but everything I bought, I knew I was going to make money on, like 3 or 4 times. So you feel charitable. It's like there's no point in me really trying to blow this little bit of change I have and embarrass myself or not get the unit. So I let it go. Then we go to the last location, which was known for having garbage. Just garbage. Notorious garbage. But as I've told you, and the reason I tell you this stuff is, you can't always go by what the common, like what this place is known for. It's always going to give stuff, because there'll come a day where it won't give good stuff, and there'll come a day where it'll start to be really good stuff, and a lot of that hinges upon management. The company may be bought or sold, or the manager that's on location may retire, be fired, and someone new comes in. And I've just seen a total difference in auctions and the stuff that comes up for the auction that happens when that event takes place. So we're going to this place, and I'm like, there's 6 units. We get there, there's 3 of us. It's me, this other guy, and of course the hunchback, Ma Clampett. I'm like, she was a hunchback, but she was a persistent hunchback. Wherever we went, she was there. It was just kind of like, the tax man. Every time you turn around, it's like, hey, you owe me some money. You owe me some. It was just ridiculous. But the first 4 rooms were really crappy, and no one really bid on them. And then a nice room popped up for me. And understand, many people didn't know how nice this room was, because they walked off, and I couldn't believe it. Door goes up, and it's Herman Miller Ethos Space, and it's connectors, and I was just like blown away, because if you know anything about Herman Miller, if you need a connector or something to finish the installation, it's a grip. I'm talking $200, $300, $400, $500 for one little collector. One. And I saw those, and I was like, I'm gonna buy this. And they walked off, and I said $1, and the dude's like, psh. Turn around and flip that for $5K and didn't even have to touch it. So I'm feeling really good about myself. It's a good day. I'm buying units. I'm like, hey, this is okay. Then we get to the last unit, and it's nothing but boxes. Back in the day, people did not buy box units in the manner that they buy box units now, because eBay was still kind of like ooh, eBay, that's that place they sell garbage online. So there was a lot of suspicion and a lot of people, and even to this day, there are people out there on the storage auction trail who do not utilize eBay. I have a love-hate relationship with eBay. I understand, but it's like a necessary evil. If you're not using it, you were leaving money on the table. I'm just telling you. That's the only place that I know of that I got some of the money for some of the things I sold. You can't sell everything on Craigslist. It's just not going to happen. And I was like elated. So I'm like, about to get this bad boy for cheap. The day continues on and I throw out my bid and then the evil hunchback comes out. And you understand, we kind of had that love-hate relationship. She loved to see me hate on her because anytime I would bid on something and she knew I wanted it, whether she wanted it or not, she just bid. Just evil. Evil. I'm talking really, really evil. And okay, fine. And at that point, I knew, because I originally was thinking I was going to make like $2K on the Ethos Space unit. So I'm like, I've got room to burn. You know what? Hey, if I had to spend this little $300 that's in my pocket, so be it. I'm a man. I'm going to do it. So she bid, and I got a little cocky. Got that little stance looking at her. I mean, it's only three of us. I mean, you couldn't hide. And I'm like, yeah, 25, 50, right? We going back and forth. Then, I go 110, she goes 120. And I'm like, uh-oh, wait a minute. She ain't gonna bid as much as I got. So I'm like, bam, 150. And she, a little evil hunchback laugh, right? Because she was just running me up. She didn't want the unit. She didn't even care about it. It was all about fucking with me. So I'm like, okay, fine. I got the unit. It's 10 by 20. It's my type of unit, full from the ruler to the tutor. And at that point, like I said, those two last units made 12 units for the day. I wasn't going to move all that stuff. Couldn't do it. I had to set up a logistical flow sheet because I had units to move. So when I went to the office to pay, I just rented both of them. They had the dollar special. The manager was cool. She gave me the dollar special on both. They're not supposed to do that and probably will not do that going forward. But that happened. A few weeks later, I go back. I call up one of my boys. This guy was really nice to me when I got in the office furniture business. He had set up a secondhand shop, and I said, look, I have some Ethos Space stuff I want you to look at. And he said, Ethos Space? How much? I said, a lot. He said, okay. So that day I go out there. He meets me there. We get to the unit, pull up the door, and he's just like, how much you want for it? I was like, how much you give me? He's like, you know what this is worth. I was like, yeah. Actually, I didn't. I had no clue. I was thinking 2, right? I'm glad I didn't put that out. He said, I'll give you 5. I was like, 5? He said 5K. He said 5,000. I was like, and I had to, when someone stuns you and you don't want to show it on your face, you kind of have to turn your head or something because I was like, God, what? Sure, you have a deal. Dude pulled out his little binder, wrote me a company check. I gave him the key and the gate code, and I was like, deuces. I was like, damn, $1 to 5K. A few weeks. Wonderful moment. At that point, I'm really feeling good about myself. All my units are coming looking lovely. I'm making money. So I go to this unit and I start pulling out stuff. The first foot, it's okay. But I didn't know what okay was because once I started looking at it, because I pulled up in the box and there was like all these drapes. When you see stuff like that, you want to cuss. But understand, there are people who pay good money for material. Even used material because they call it being green and repurposing and using wood from one item for another. That's big stuff, and it's just not wood. It's fabric and everything because there are a certain group of people who are looking hard for vintage fabrics because certain things they just don't make it like that anymore. And if you want that look, you gotta have the vintage stuff. So I had a few people, the gay guys. The gay guys hooked me up because they would come to my place, and I called one of them up, and he came by. He said, oh, this is lovely. This is lovely. Where did you get this? I was like, hey, tell me what it is. He said, no, this is Damascus. He knew what all that crap was. And he said, this is really nice. This is really nice. I know some boys that would like it. Let me get back to you. So he handled that, and I broke him off some free stuff, and we were good. But as we're going in the unit, everything was super nice. Super nice. That's why I call this cat Matty Stewart, because he was like the male equivalent of Martha Stewart, because Martha Stewart is about the total home living environment. It's like everything's nice, from the cookware to the drapes to the countertop. It's the whole deal. And that's what this guy was, the whole deal. I mean, everything. The flatware was from Pottery Barn. It was just really nice. And I estimate this guy to be about 75, maybe 80 when I got the unit, because I don't think he's with us anymore, because this is going on 10 years now. Yeah, he would be, if he's still alive, he'd be well into his 90s. Close to it or well into it. But it was really cool finding this unit, because as I was pulling out stuff and I came across a Tiffany & Company flatware set, if you ever get one of those and it says Tiffany & Company and you can count 64 pieces or more, just immediately start doing the happy dance. I'm serious, because you have 5 to 7K, maybe more depending upon the pattern, when it was made, who made it. I'm telling you, Tiffany & Company is the business. And I saw it, and I saw Tiffany & Company. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I knew it was going to be money, but when that sucker went for $6,200 on eBay and the person paid like that, I had put up regular shipping. I actually overnighted that. You gonna pay me $6,200 real quick like that? I'm gonna make sure you get your stuff real quick like that. And it was a great, transaction for eBay, because they got it. Emailed me, love, thank you for shipping it overnight. I'm like, hey, you gonna pay me? I'm gonna be nice to you. And it was just all kind of lovely stuff like that. Courier knives, plates, Hummel, Hallmark Christmas ornaments. Matty Stewart was a serious collector, and had the tassels for the curtains. I mean, this was one unit of what I estimate to be 3 or 4, because there was nothing in this unit but smalls and 6 curio cabinets for the baccarat crystal, and it was about 140 pieces of crystal. I mean, the vast majority of this stuff was between $30 and $150. But there was so much of it. It's a 10 by 20 from the ruler to the doodle. Do you understand me? I'm in the parking lot I'm doing all kind of dances. I'm like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. And at the end of the day, and it took me months, and that's why, when you see on the shows, it's like you buy a unit and you sell it that day. It took me 7-8 months to get rid of all that stuff. But every month I was making money. That unit just kept giving in. And at the end of the day, when it was all said and done, it was 24K. Now I want you to think, that was the deal, right? That was the business. No. Matty was a pimp before pimps. Only way I can say is Matty was a male Martha Stewart with Hugh Hefner attributes, because there was no Mrs. Stewart. All this stuff was dude stuff. Men's clothes to suit. He was impeccably dressed, very well appointed. Dude spoke 3 languages. But the weird thing is, early in life, Matty had a passion for something. B&E, baby. B&E. For some of you old school birds, you know what that is. He spent 10 years in jail for burglary and forgery. 10 years between his 20s to his 30s. And because he had his prison papers in there, mugshot, all that. He kept that stuff in a folder, and it would seem to be real personal to him. But he had journals and papers, and this was the kind of unit that I just loved, because there was so much information. You don't understand. When it's that type of information, I'm up for all. You got to understand me. I'm very nosy. That to me, the money was great. I was not going to throw it back. But just being it, because he had so many journals, about his life and about his travels and the things that he did. It was just like, I was reading that stuff for weeks before I turned it back in. But the love letters, if you see my video, Prisoners Write the Best Love Letters, I don't know if he developed these skills when he was in the joint, but dude could put it down. 5-page to 15-page letters to these chicks. And I'm reading that stuff and I'm just like, damn. I'm a dude and I'm feeling that. I mean, he was putting it down, and he actually sparked me to start writing again, because I tried 3 times, this being the 3rd time. And the first time before I even heard about the storage auction business. And the second time was due to Matty. And I didn't write as much, but I wrote a little bit here and there, and it just kind of primed the pump. And to me, besides the money, greater than the money, was getting that inspiration to put some stuff down on paper, because that's a lifelong gift. Because when you're inspired, when someone gives you something like that, you can't put a value on it. Because I read those letters over and over and over, and it was a lot. I mean, several dozen. I mean, it was like in shoe boxes. There was a lot of letters, and it was weird, because I don't know how he got them back. He gave these letters to women, but he had them back. to Madeline, to Lori. You could tell these were some old school names. Esther, I don't see myself writing a chick named Esther. The word Esther, and I had a friend back in the day whose name was Esther, and she was gorgeous. So don't make the mistake that Esther means automatically ugly. But when you think Esther, you think your auntie with the big boobs that gives you that big old hug, and you're choking in the perfume around Christmas. You're like, oh man, she's gonna hug me. She's gonna hug me. I don't want to hug her because I'm gonna choke on the perfume and the powder. That kind of name. And I'm just looking at this stuff, and I was just saying, dude was gifted. He was very gifted. And his thing is a mystery because there was tax forms and other things in there. But to the life of me, I don't know how he got his money. I personally think that he continued on with his burglary efforts and he just perfected them where he didn't get caught anymore. That's what I think, because there was a lot of nice stuff. And like I said before, I think this was one of 3 or 4 units because there was a picture of the house and they had the curios and the house was like huge. Huge. There's no way everything in that house could have fit in that unit. And there was no furniture. It was just those 6 curios, then mostly smalls. 10 by 20, ruler to the tutor. It was great. It was great. It was great. And that was one of the best units I bought. And it's one that I remember. And I remember that day because, there was a lot of emotional anchors to it. And I was just like, one of the best units I bought because it also opened up my eyes to some things because he had postcards from the Swiss Alps. He had postcard. Dude was just all over the place. I'm telling you, Martha Stewart, Hugh Hefner, together. That's what this dude was. Because I didn't see anything about any children. I didn't see anything about any weddings. It was just like maybe a lifelong bachelor. I don't know how the stuff ended up in the unit. It was in there pretty cool. Then the boxes and stuff. They weren't like moving boxes. There was a few moving boxes, but they were liquor boxes. So this was a move that was planned. It just didn't happen overnight. But it was a killer unit, and I'll never forget it. And like I said, I shade stuff to protect the guilty because say he's a vampire or something. He's still out there. And he's like, that's where my shit went. Yeah, I'll be playing you a visit tonight, Mr. Black Man. But no, that's the deal. And I'm telling you this stuff is because a lot of times people go, oh, I'm not going to a bad unit. I'm not going to a bad neighborhood. No, because I'm telling you, this neighborhood was, I'll even tell you where it was. McElroy in Doraville. Public storage at McElroy in Doraville. It's a different kind of little city. But I don't know how that classy stuff ended up there. I don't know, but it was there. So you can't just automatically disclude a certain storage facility unless you went 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Okay, you went, you got to put some skin in the game. But I'm telling you, thanks to Matty Stewart, it started me writing again. And, I could put a lot of cheese on my Whopper, thanks to him, because that Ethos Space unit and the Matty Stewart unit, incidentally, both at the same location, made my year. Those two together made my year.